tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG.
Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of Morrus's Unofficial Tabletop RPG Talk. You will notice that it is not Morrus speaking, for he is not here, but instead, do not fear, to tell you the news this week, we have me, Jessica from EM Publishing, and also here in their first podcast of 2026, we also have...
PJ Coffee from the Southampton Guild of Role Players, also from Homebrew and Hacking, ttrpgs Design. Jessica, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, of course, glad to have you back. We did the podcast last week and it was just Russ and myself, and this week it's just myself and PJ. But next week, the third show of 2026, the three of us will meet again in thunder, lightning and rain, and so we'll all be together again. But for now, it's just the two of us this week. But welcome back in 2026, PJ.
Yes, thank you.
Did you have a nice festive break? Any gaming done, more importantly?
Played a bit of Starfinder. That was quite cool.
Oh, nice. I've not played that. Yeah. How is it?
I'm finding second edition a big improvement over first. It plays much like Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I was a soldier. I had a machine gun. Daka. Yeah. It's nice. Interesting. Yeah. It's like it's quite interesting to see how things like Esper Genesis and Pathfinder second edition have similar concepts, like area effects and dexterity saving throws and so forth. So I have some rules for firearms that are slowly percolating their way because they have to go through the greatest trial of all, not playtesting. No, layout. I put them so it's in just a Google document saying, here, look at my thing. But on the other hand, I've been learning Markdown, so that's very exciting for me professionally. And I've already produced documents, flyers for my regular work, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. That's another useful skill to have, especially when you're a small publisher, because it's that thing where you have to do a little bit of everything yourself, so be a little bit of jack of all trades. Yeah.
Like I've been using Affinity, but I don't think I get on with it. Whereas Markdown is basically, it's like HTML, but for a text document, it's a little bit more complicated than that, using a program called Typest, which promises to be similar to LaTeX, but easier to use, which is a very low bar because LaTeX is famously difficult to use, as observed by people typing Control X. How do I get out my LaTeX document? But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
No, I don't know anything about LaTeX software. I only know it as the material. So, I guess LaTeX clothes are difficult to wear, and it sounds like the software is difficult to use as well. But there we go. Anyway, people have come here today to listen to the Tabletop RPG news, so we should probably tell people about it. If you're listening to the podcast, everything we talk about will be linked in the show notes. And if you're watching us live, hey, hi, low, you can put comments in the chat and we'll put them up on the screen if I remembered to. If you don't know about Livestream, we do it every Friday at 2 p.m. UK time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern, and you can watch that on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook on our social media, which is linked in the show notes because I can't be bothered to go through them. But anyway, let us go through the news. Someone has asked, because Morrus is absent, do you think Morrus is watching, or can we say anything we want? Morrus is away because they're busy, so I don't think they are watching. So we can do anything we want. It's very exciting. It's like, teenager and mum and dad are away and you can have a house party. That's the vibe of this episode. PJ and I are going to do whatever we want.
That's true, except I know for a fact that he actually likes listening to this podcast. I'm like, why do I listen to this podcast? I'm on it. I know everything that was said.
Well, but what's he going to do afterwards? Once I've edited the podcast and posted it, what's he going to do?
Thank you. That'd be a terrible idea, but he could. I don't know. No one knows what he's thinking. He didn't know what he's thinking. It's craziness. Anyway.
All right. Let's get this road back on the show. All right. First bit of news. The first bit of news I've got is some hiring Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons and Dragons. So this time of year they do firing and hiring is usually the thing, but we've got some nice news here because there's some people that we know. So the first news is Leon Barillan. Why can't I say words today? Barillaro. There we go. Sorry. that.
job,
Leon has joined Wizards of the Coast as part of the D&D design team. So people might be familiar. We found this out because they announced it on their social media page. I know them because they worked with us at EM Publishing. They were part of the design team for Level Up Advanced 5th edition. I think that's how you familiar with them as well, PJ.
I know the face, yeah.
Yep, and but they've also done loads of third-party supplements on the DMs Guild. They've also done design with loads of other third-party RPG creators like MCDM, which we'll be talking about. Renegade Game Studios. So there's absolutely loads. But yeah, so they have joined the design team there, so they'll be working on Dungeons and Dragons stuff. So I'll be interested to see the work that they're doing there. But yeah. I also have another piece of news as well coming in for hiring. Someone else that we know as well, James Hike, is joining Wizards of the Coast there as a D&D designer. They also worked with us at EM Publishing back in the day on with the Insider magazine. So there's a lot of edits there. So if you go back into the archives, well, if you join Insider magazine and subscribe monthly, you get access to the archive. And there's like 600-ish articles from the decades, and a lot of the earlier ones you'll see James's name as an editor on there, so they worked with us a lot then. But they went on since then. They co-wrote Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. So they also announced that they had joined Wizards of the Coast as a senior designer. They announced it on the Eldritch Lorecast podcast, so the Ghostfire Gaming one. But yeah, they worked on loads of stuff. So they're the lead designer on Call of Netherdeep, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. They did some stuff on D&D Beyond for a few years as well. So this makes sense. So they've joined the team there. So that's two quite cool people joining the team there that I like in the industry. So that's really nice to see.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We have had someone in the podcast in the comments saying, didn't you two, as in myself and PJ, threaten to stream Baldur's Gate 3 last time Morrus was absent? We did. And you know what's funny is we actually talked about it before the podcast started. PJ said, shall we? And I said, if I didn't have to edit and post this podcast afterwards and finish that, I absolutely would. But I feel that playing video games and playing Baldur's Gate 3 when Russ is away during work time is probably a bit cheeky for me. I don't know.
You gotta give the people what they want, though.
I mean, if you do keep wanting it, keep posting it in the comments. I want to make Russ play because, as we all know, Russ loves digital games. But there we go. But yes, drinks all around for the house party that we're having here without them. So that is kind of the hiring news at D&D that I have. So that's kind of the industry news that I have for us there.
Exciting.
It is exciting stuff. It's nice to see. I like it when, because I know we talk a lot about when D&D and, well, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro company does things that aren't great, and we've talked a lot about all those various things over the last few years, and so I think a lot of people are worried about, you know, the D&D, like, because, you know, a lot of people love it, they grew up with it, it's a, you know, it's a system that they love, and we want to know that it's in the hands of good stewards. So I think seeing people like this hired is a good sign, is what I think anyway. Oh, that's me being all hopeful at the start of the year before something happens. We'll see.
Has the past decade taught you nothing, Jessica? Anyway.
No, I mean,
no, I'm joking.
You know, no, I mean, yeah, no, right to be jaded because of the history of the world, but equally, like, I want to be positive and think hopefully about things, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe it's because I rewatched Lord of the Rings over Christmas, so I'm feeling more hopeful. I'm like, you know, even us little hobbits can make a change, I guess.
Absolutely.
But anyway, talking not about hobbits at all. So the next thing is in no way linked to hobbits. Okay.
This is not a segue.
No, I don't have a segue for this because I'm going to talk about romantasy.
Yeah, Polk.
Have you heard about this?
No, I recognise the author.
Oh, what do you know them from? Because I don't recognise them. What
I know them from social media.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. Like, they seem like an interesting author, someone whose books I would like to read.
Oh, nice.
There are a lot of fairly interesting authors out there. I do have a significant to be read pile, but I work my way through it when I get a chance, little sprints and so forth. So for the cover that I'm looking at, for those listening at home, it has two trees with a sort of wooden bridge in between, with someone playing a fiddle and someone listening to them doing so. It's called The Feywild Job in a delightful array of colours and with strong emphasis on purple, and it has quite discreetly at the bottom a little D&D logo.
Indeed. So this is from Penguin Random House, and they've been publishing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons books, officially branded ones that aren't, the actual game books. So I think last week we mentioned some of the workbooks that come along as supplements, and this is a what's it called?
Romantasy.
Romantasy. That's what I can't speak to say.
It's a
romantasy.
Romance and fantasy.
Wow. Anyway, yes,
Hmm.
it is. So it's a romantasy novel, so it's a book, and this is a really big growing genre. I mean, I think it was last year or the year before we had Sam Parks on to talk about their books in that line as well. But anyway, so this is by Penguin Random House, and it's called The Feywild's Job. So it's written by C.L. Polk, as PJ mentioned, an author they're interested in. They wrote Witchmark, and that won the World Fantasy Award in 2019. And they've won the Nebula Award for Best Novella in 2022 for Even Though I Knew the End. So they're very critically acclaimed author. But yeah, this is their first thing they've done into licensed media. So working with Dungeons and Dragons, everything else was their own thing. But yeah, the Feywild Job is going to be released later this year on June the 30th. So it's a little while. So it's very much in the D&D world. So it features a rogue. And they're tasked with stealing a gem. And what do you think a good name for a gem is in a romantasy book, PJ? If you were to...
The Heart of Emerald.
That's very good. I like that. This is a bit more spicy, though. It's The Kiss of Enduring Love.
Name for a gem. All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Not my book.
And in order to do this heist, the person they have to team up with is their ex-lover, who is a bard, of course. Because I think in an RPG world, everyone's got an ex who's a bard, because we all go through that phase. But anyway, so as you know, every romance novel needs to have a twist or a reason why they can't be together. That's the meat of the book.
Enemies to lovers is an important trope.
Well, this one look enemies to lovers.
This is lovers to enemies, and then enemies to lovers again. So there's a lot distance travelled. Yeah.
Indeed, but the twist, the rogue, and this is part of the setup, so this isn't a spoiler. The rogue has a magical pact, and they get all their powers and things that they can do. But the exchange is they can never fall in love.
That sounds like a warlock deal to me.
Yes, it does. But it's not. They're a rogue. Anyway. But yes, they're forced to work together, and they're in the Feywild doing high society parties, and stuff's going to happen. But yes. And that
I was just thinking, what would the capability to fall in love do for someone that presumably didn't already have it? I suppose it's like an interesting experience.
But yeah, anyway, so that's coming out later this year. I quite like that there's all this adjacent kind of D&D stuff coming out. Last week there's these press-on nails and things like that, and it's because there's loads of different brands of Dungeons and Dragons stuff. So it's nice to see more things coming out, really. But yeah, but that's that little romantasy novel. I think there's a lot more coming out as well, because I know that Critical Role did their Tusk Love romance book as well last year, and there's Sam Parks' trilogy of books. Mead Cute came out last year, and there's another one coming out this year as well. But yeah, so exciting stuff in that genre. If you like your romance books and you like your Dungeons and Dragons, jam them together, and there you go. There we go.
Okay.
But anyway. And that's all the Dungeons and Dragons news and tidbits I have, really. So we can move on to other things. I don't know if you had anything D&D. It's that time of year where there's not a lot coming out.
I have been thinking quite a lot about pacts and contracts, oaths and vows.
Oh yeah.
The differences between them, because there are significant differences between them. I've been working on a backstory generator because, when I first started role playing, people were like, write a backstory. I'm like, okay. how do I do that? Like, just write a backstory, which did put me in mind of other experiences I've had later on in life where people are like, oh, well, the first thing you do is you do a backflip. I'm like, how do you do a backflip? You just do a backflip. So it's like, let's say you needed to break it down for me. So because that's the sort of mind I have, and I like to be helpful, I have compiled a list of questions. Initially, it was for level up characters, but I realized I could easily genericize and make it useful for people. And yeah, it's like you go through this list of stuff and you say, oh yeah, that's something that I would have something, well, my character has something to say about it. And the value that I'm adding to this is that you also list your consent for what you would like the what boundaries the GM is allowed to do with it. So are they allowed to mess with, like, if you mention your family, is the GM allowed to mess with them? Yes, no, or they're just like, you have a family, you see them occasionally, it's lovely and warm or whatever, and the GM doesn't mess around with it. Because that's important, because there was a period of time, which may still be ongoing, where if you wrote that you had a family, the GM would be like, excellent, and then murders them to add tension.
Yeah, I mean, that's a common thing in storytelling. It's called, like, they used to do it with people's wives, like it's called fridging the wife, that you
exactly.
It's to give you like meaning and a drive to go forward because like someone you love died, and we'll just make it a generic woman, and she doesn't need any more information about her. It's fine.
Which, like, if people are happy with that, then that's fine. And if they're not happy with that, then you can have your developed character and all the various things. So it's like allies, betrayals. It's fairly extensive, but like I say, you don't have to fill it all in. That's written clearly on the document, and it's just like to give people prompts and spurs to creativity. And I say the consent part is important because you're then handing it over to someone else or working with someone else to generate it, and saying these are things that it would be okay or not okay to mess with. Or in some cases, for the more veteran, more secure player, you can say, surprise me, it'll be funny.
Yeah, no, I like doing that. I mean, a big thing from writing backstories for me is to give the GM hooks for stuff to play with my character. So that's a big part of it. I'm like, here's all these things. So here's the strings you can pull to motivate my character to get them to go in certain ways to match the story. But and family can be a great one for that. I've had a lot of characters who have had very complicated issues with their, relationships with their mothers, because mothers and their daughters, a classic trope in storytelling. So I've had lots of those as well. So you don't have to kill the character's family in order to do something interesting. You can just make them problematic people in their lives that they have to deal with.
And also because, like, there is a cohort of a certain age. Hello, we got parents and of course children as well. Because sometimes the kids get up to mischief or do things, make unwise decisions. And I think that's also a fairly popular dramatic trope. Like, what has your child done?
What has your child done?
Yeah, I know, right?
That also reminds me of a good sibling dynamic. I love a sibling dynamic in a role-playing game because you can have more. It really gives you a really good solid reason to have that person's back and like be on an adventure and doing things with them. And it also lets you have kind of little arguments. But at the end of the day, you've got each other's back, so you're not going to just walk away. I love a messy sibling dynamic. I had a messy triplet sibling dynamic with two of my friends, and that game has long been over. But it was literally the other week, one of them sent me a song. They're like, oh my gosh, I've had to put this on the triplets playlist because this is so them. And it was, so there are some characters like that still work. Anyway, I'm going to take us back to the RPG news because we start waffling about games as we are wont to do.
Yeah, I believe it's relevant. As I say, this is going to be released relatively shortly, by end of February. So, keep an eye out for it. It should be good.
Fair. Well, anyway. I'm going to move us on to something that will be coming out later this year as well. No, that's not a good segue. I can't do a segue for this. Anyway, this is the segue. Next news item. MCDM. As an MCDM.
We covered this last year.
We did talk about it. But it has joined the $1 Million Crowdfunding Club for the 5th time. So this is the first that ended this week, which is why we're talking about it now. So it ended, the funding total was $2,006,017 and $323 US.
Nice.
So it's a lot. That's quite a few pennies. Anyway, but yeah, so congratulations to them. The crowdfunding finished this week. This is their $5 million Kickstarter. They did this on, well, I say Kickstarter, it's on BackKit, crowdfunder, I should say, sorry. The $1 million crowdfunder. I apologize. But anyway, Crack the Sun is their official adventure path for Draw Steel TTRPG, and Draw Steel originally raised 4.6 million back in 2024. I was going to say last year, but 2024 isn't last year anymore. But yeah, so they started strong. So back in 2018, they had Strongholds and Streaming, which was a supplement for D&D, which had 2 million. So they're going like strength to strength, really.
I don't think Strongholds and Streaming was the name of the book, because that would be a weird name to call it.
That is what I think it was. It is Strongholds and Streaming, yeah. Strongholds and
Streaming?
That's what the name of the crowdfunding campaign was. The book says Strongholds and Followers.
There we go, yes.
The Strongholds and Streaming Project is the name of the crowdfunding campaign.
Right, with you, yeah.
Yes. So that's, so sorry, that's what the book's called.
I misunderstood. My bad. Yeah.
No, that's fine. You won't be the only person. But anyway, so yeah, they've had 5 crowdfunders, and it was quite interesting. And I think obviously this is the first $1 million crowdfunder of 2026. And so Russ has looked at this and made a graph for us. Boom, we love a graph. If you're listening to the podcast, you can click through the show notes so you can have a look at the graph that we're talking about. But yeah, it's basically since 2016 to 2025, the number of $1 million TTRPG crowdfunders that have existed. Now, in 2016 and 2018, there was 1. There were none in 2017. There was 2 in 2019, 1 in 2020. But then 2021 was the year it really kicked off, and there was 11. And it's interesting to see the graph. It's remained, it's gone down a little bit, but it's remained reasonably consistent, seeming as between 2016 and 2020, 1 a year was like a big deal. Whereas there was like almost every month in 2021. In 2022, there was 7, 10 in 23, 8 in 2024, and 7 in 2025. So I'm intrigued to see how many there are in 2026 we can add to this graph and see. So even though there's a slight downward trend of like, 1 or 2 in the last 3 years, still overall, if you look at the graph, the last 5 years are still really solid and really strong, and a lot, it shows the industry is still large and it's still there in that post-pandemic boom. It's a slight trend downwards, but it's still a lot bigger than it was pre-pandemic, which is interesting to see. But yeah. So that is the deals that come through there. I'm really.
It makes a certain amount of sense that you'd see like a big leap in 2021, because in 2020, a lot of folks that would be working in TTRPGs would be in lockdown, so they have too much time on their hands to figure things out and cook stuff up. So we saw a lot of bangers of ideas, like things like Coyote and Crow, for example. Pretty sure that was in the $1 million for 2021. So yeah. So waiting to see some of the ones that came out. I can't remember if Into the Motherlands broke $1 million, but that has been in what we shall characterize as development hell for best part of 5 years now. So yeah, be good. Nice to see that one out. Occasionally, drop me an update just to remind me that they exist. So yeah, but they always start off saying, "Oh, we don't want to constantly update you with no news." But there you go.
Someone's asked in the comments, which months are they occurring? So is there a specific month? I'm just looking through a lot of them now, and as I scroll through, there's an article in EM World. There is a feature about $1 million Kickstarters, which is linked on the site. So if you want to look at all the data, it is all in there. Looking through, a lot of them I'm seeing July, August, September, some April, May, January. I'm not scrolling through at a glance. I'm not seeing a really strong, obvious thing. There's a few cluster groups. But if you scroll through onto EM World, you can have a look at the data and look on there. And maybe that's, I think Russ might have crunched the numbers, because he does like a good number and a good chart. So maybe we can do an episode looking at it and see what trends we spot. If people are interested to have a look at that. But yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm intrigued to see what we do in 2026, because I know a lot of companies in the wider tabletop space are a bit worried about staying stable with publishing, with everything with tariffs and like also
cost of living,
a lot of people having less money to spend on games. And of course, if you're like you have to, if you're prioritizing, your hobby budget might be the first thing that goes down, which is entirely sensible. But yeah, it's interesting to see. But yeah, like you said, PJ, everything boomed up in 2020 because people had time to make projects. But I think we also got a lot of new players in the hobby as well, because a lot of people, whilst they're at home, tried it out with online gaming and entered the space. So I think that's why that's got a little bit bigger. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it'd be really interesting to see how many made over $900,000. Because $1 million is a magic number and attracts a lot of attention. But how has the 900, no, not quite $1 million, gone? Like, is there a, like, just a peak where you're making $1 million, or you're only making $500,000, or is there like, what's the distribution? But that's a lot of work. I ain't doing it.
You know, I don't have that data.
No.
I know it exists. If you go to KickTrack, it'll definitely be on there. I haven't run that. But as before, Russ has mentioned, the general trends that we see is, you know, an average campaign does 26% of its funding in the first day. So, you know, we can find out roughly from that. But yeah.
There
we go. It's interesting stuff. I do like an episode where we dive into the data on things and have a look around. So I think there's something to look at in this, because we've got, like I said, Russ has been collecting data for almost a decade now. Because the data he has on this chart is from 2016. So maybe at the end of this year we do a big segment on that or something. But yeah. And someone in the comment has said, what PJ said is an interesting point. What's the financial swell of funds in the Kickstarter hobby space? That would be an interesting thing as well. Like, how many crowdfunders are happening? What's the size of the crowdfunding industry? Again, I don't have that data in front of me, but the data out there exists, so it could be something we look into in the future. I think that could be an interesting topic to discuss. But yeah,
how much of it is due to people like BackerKit sprinkling some magic Kickstarter dust onto various projects that they'd like the look of, and propelling them into the stratosphere with the power of advertising?
Yeah, that's another question as well. I mean, there's lots of information about it. Well, the chart that Russ has already on EM World does have a filter on it for Kickstarter, BackerKit, or whatever thing, whether or not it's Dungeons and Dragons. And he's also got a nice thing on whether it featured dice or merchandise and miniatures and stuff, because that makes a big difference. Because obviously, if your average pledge level is people are spending $200 opposed to $20,
you need
10 number of backers,
10 times less people to back it.
Exactly.
It's funnels. Think of it as funnels. People have to see the ad, they have to click through the ad, they have to pledge, and it's that pledge that then makes a difference. So it's like you use about, I don't know, 90% of people on each step through.
Yes. And someone's in the comments, these are the hard-hitting questions we need to know, and only EN World can answer. Well, that's nice for you to say, but I cannot answer today because I need to look at facts, information, and data. But yes, anyway, speaking of crowdfunders, we talked about $1 million crowdfunders. I'm going to go to completely the other end of the scale now. There's a Kickstarter that's fully funded, and it had its goal was £223. I think it was originally in dollars. But I saw it, and I think it's really nice. So this is the Infected Abbey. So it's a Shadowdark adventure. And I'm intrigued by this because I want to play some Shadowdark. So yeah, it looked quite interesting with the details of it. What I really liked is this person has made a big pledge to not use any AI artificially generated content. So they're working hard to make sure the art and everything's there. And it looks very Shadowdark. It's all very black and white and drawn and goes with that theme. But yeah, and the thing that sold me on this Kickstarter is they go through the features and options for players and GMs to use. So it's got like rules for hymns, which has different pre-spells, and it's got 15 new magic items, 25 new enemies. And one of the enemies, it says it has a cryptid, and its description of it says it's cute and hypoallergenic. And I just thought, I like you. But yeah, it's got custom art being made. So the images, the enemies, NPCs, and maps are illustrated by hand. By a human hand. So this just looked really nice. It's the first created project from this creator. But from looking through the Kickstarter page, it looks really nice. I really like this. I think I'm going to back this. So I wanted to share that because we're talking about $1 million Kickstarter campaigns, but I think we also need to give love to the other end of the scale there. But yeah.
Well, famously, Shadowdark did itself break $1 million. So I don't know. We're talking about like a real micro project here, but
well, this particular campaign from this creator,
pounds, dollars, or what have you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
Level 6 to 8 does seem like that might be quite optimistic to reach in Shadowdark.
Yeah, I've not run it yet.
From the rules, it looks like death is practically instantaneous. But yeah, I'm not against that. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Well, maybe you start with characters at level 6, so they've got cool stuff, and then kill them there.
Bit more chunky, so they can take a bit more of a beating. Yeah,
absolutely.
What's attracting you to Shadowdark to make you want to play in it?
I read through the rule. Well, I can't say specifically about it. I just read the rules of it, and I was like, do you know what? This looks interesting, and I want to run it. And when that happens, it means it's a system I like. I do like my horror and my dark vibes and creating that, because I think as a GM, that's a vibe I know how to curate, and I think that's why I like running it, because I know how to create dread and unease at a table with my mere presence. Another thing I do like doing though is playing. I do like making people feel like big strong heroes. We're the big damn heroes. We're epic. We're really good at what we're doing. I like doing that, and that's when I run things like Level Up Advanced for this edition D&D. That's generally what I want to do. I want to make you feel quite cool and things like that. But when I'm doing horror, I want to make you feel the opposite of that. I want to make you feel very hopeless and like you're struggling to run around. And Shadowdark is very much like you're not big, bad, and scary and all powerful. No. You're running around in the dark. Oh God, I hope you don't get eaten.
We did a really good. Well, perhaps it's in the archives of our podcast. We actually spoke to the creator, and I gushed shamelessly at them. I would do it again because I really enjoyed the design, which is very modern in its aesthetic, but has a OSR layer on top to make it look like it's very old school, when in fact I think it's thoroughly modern in its design sensibilities. And what I would say is something I have been toying with is Shadowdark, but the dark places that you're going into are similar to the Upside Down from Stranger Things.
Oh, that's a nice parallel. Yeah, I've not caught up. No spoilers. I've not caught up on the latest season.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I just refer to like the first 3, but
no, yeah, I know, but just in advance.
But like you're adventurers, but essentially you're going into a parallel world, parallel dimension, and doing things. And for me, that answers a lot of questions and avoids a lot of what I might call, for my generation, typical tactics. For instance, you're told, oh, there's monsters in that mine. They keep coming out and annoying the place. Like, all right, and you divert a river into it, or empty a decanter of endless water and flood the place out.
Which, I love that though.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clever. It's very effective, but you're not engaging in the adventure, whereas this is not possible to do if it's a rift in reality, and you can get there by, say, crawling through an old oak tree, or like, opening a door left to right instead of right to left.
Yeah.
So it's like this parallel dimension thing, and it being very unhealthy to be there would also make a lot of sense why your adventurers are so completely out of their depth, which is a very key part to Shadowdark. So I've been thinking about doing something for that, but in my copious spare time.
Yes, which we both have much. So I have goals this year, as I mentioned. I think at the end of 2025 we talked about plans for the year. I do want to run more games because I've got so many game systems that I want to run, but time is the thing, because there's life things and then there's also work things. We're really busy at EM Publishing, segueing into EM Publishing and crowdfunding as we're talking about it. We have a Kickstarter live right now on Kickstarter, funnily enough, because the Kickstarter campaign is usually on Kickstarter. It's fully funded, Enchanted Trinkets Complete Collection, 500 magic items for D&D 5th edition. It's live for another week. As usual, the PDF's done, so we're going to send it out. I'm getting ready to send it out next week on Thursday to everybody, so they can have all their enchanted trinkets. And then this one's going to be a print-on-demand book. So once we get your address in a few weeks, we'll probably send it out next month. So it's going to be a really quick turnaround on getting this out to people. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. We talked about it previously, and if you're interested in learning more, if you listen to EM Publishing's podcast, I don't want to make this a massive spam ad, but it is ending next week, and I'm excited about it, so I thought I would share it here briefly on there if people want to have a look at that. Yeah,
sounds great.
Yeah, and other people are excited for other things. Because don't you know, PJ, people have been voting for their most anticipated TTRPGs of 2026 last few weeks. And if you haven't voted now, it's closed now. So tough.
Right.
Sorry.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we told you last week. So right now, it closed literally yesterday, I believe. I think it was at midnight. It closed. So Russ is going to squirrel away, get all the facts and datas and graphs as he is wont to do. And next week on the show, we will have a Russ back. The three of us.
Yes.
Musketeers. We should have a name for the three of us, actually. We don't have a name for the three of
us.
Okay. We'll workshop that. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. We'll put that in we'll definitely put that in the mix. Okay. Anyway, the three of us, working title, we'll all be here. And we'll have that information. So on the podcast, we'll be talking about the most anticipated TTRPG of 2026, as voted by you, the people that engage with EN World. So I'm excited to see what that is. I know I put my votes in. Mine and Russ's votes were wildly different. We didn't have any overlap. So I'm intrigued to see. What everyone thinks. Did you have it? Do you remember? Did you have any? Your most anticipated TTRPG of 2026? It was a few weeks ago you voted now, so I don't know if you remember.
I remember the World of Eam or something. That was one of the things I was looking forward to. But no, I do not. I have slept since then.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you have. But I think with that, next week we're planning to talk about that. And yes. I think that's all we have this week. So unless there's anything else I've forgotten, PJ, because it's that beginning time of the year, so a little shorter show this week, and we're minus a Russ. There's less of us to waffle, so I think we'll call it a close there. If that's
wrap
good.
It up.
Let's wrap it up. All right. Well, we'll be heading off now then. So thank you to everybody that's watched live and joined in the chat. It's great to see you there. There's a lot of familiar faces I see. So we'll see you next week. And thank you to those that listen to the podcast. If you do want to join us live, it's 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern time every Friday on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So you can join us there, or you can continue listening on whatever platform you're listening to. But for now, we'll say goodbye and thank you very much.
And don't forget, if you want to see Russ playing Baldur's Gate 3, he's very susceptible to peer pressure. Make a noise about it, and he will succumb eventually.
Oh yes, that is true. We'll get him. We'll get Heckles the Wizard that hat that he wants. I've tempted him by letting him know that there is a dog in the game that he can adopt. So if that's not going to get him,
I don't know. Well,
anyway.
Absolutely.
Anyway, all right. That's all. Thanks very much, folks. Bye.
All the tabletop role-playing news, we aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morrus is unofficial tabletop RPG.